Thanks for watching Idaho News 6. I'm Don Nelson. We're interrupting regular programming to bring you the very latest in an ongoing investigation out of Payette County. In a matter of minutes, we expect to learn what Fruitland police found during their search efforts of a residential property earlier this month in the search for Michael Vaughan, the 5-year-old boy who went missing from his home almost a year and a half ago. Our Karen Lair has been following the latest up. Joins us live from Fruitland City Hall, where the police chief will be briefing the media approximately in just minutes from now. Karen?
Yeah, we expect them to file in here any minute now, Don. It's been a very busy month for the Fruitland Police Department after really not a whole lot of information, at least shared publicly, since Michael Vaughan went missing July 27th of last year. So it's been almost a year and a half, but this month they made an arrest and they completely excavated the backyard of a home. Beginning earlier this month, that arrest was made on the 11th. Those digging efforts began on the 12th, and we know they were on scene there for more than a week. We did drive by that area on our way here to Fruitland City Hall today, and it is completely back to normal there. No more police tape, no more crews on scene. The fence is back in place, and it really looks like their efforts there so far, Don, are done.
Karen, is there any connection between the Vaughan family and the home where police had been searching?
No, we've heard this more than once from the family representatives and from the police department that there is no connection between the Vaughan family and the home where this search took place. We know the woman who lives in that home, Sarah Wondra, was taken into custody that Friday night and charged with failing to report a death, specifically naming Michael Vaughan in those reports. Now, there is no connection that we've been told of. Police say there's no connection. They don't know each other, but it is extremely close to the family's home, walking distance in a residential area, only a half a mile from where Michael Vaughan was last seen at his home that evening of July 27th. Don?
Karen, when they announced this press conference that hopefully will happen here momentarily, we were talking about the family. Do we know if Michael's family is there today or if they've been informed about what police will share?
They will not be here today, but I'm going to step out of the way as they start filing in, and we'll listen in live.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to our media partners. Thanks for being here. Thank you for the continued coverage of the Michael Vaughan case. I also wanted to begin by just giving my sincere thanks to all the law enforcement agencies, local businesses, and members of the public who helped us over the course of the last year and a half of this intense investigation. More recently, during the last 3 weeks, we could not have completed the work necessary without the selfless help of others. The community support has been absolutely incredible. As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughan could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wondra's home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughan were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wondra's residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed. Evidence suggests that the following individuals who are currently in custody are involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. This is Sarah Wondra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction. Sarah Wondra is currently being held at the Payette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. This is Sarah's husband, Stacy Wondra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. Stacy is currently being held in the Washington County Jail on unrelated charges. Now, the next individuals I'm going to introduce you to, let's go at the bottom there. This is Brandon Shirtliff, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wondra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Brandon is currently believed to be in North Dakota. Adrian Lucien, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wondra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian is currently believed to be in Toledo, but floats between Ohio and California. I strongly encourage Shirtliff and Lucien to contact the Fruitland Police Department detectives, as the window of time for talking and cooperation is coming to a close. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, with conversations taking place with the Payette County Prosecutor's Office about Michael's case and those individuals involved. We also believe that there are others associated with the Wondras, Shirtliff, and Lucien, who may have knowledge of Michael's abduction, and I would strongly encourage them to come forward and speak with my detectives. When we finally reach the conclusion of this investigation, and I can assure you that we will, all of those who have knowledge of Michael's disappearance and have failed to report or hindered our investigation will be pursued. There's a moment in time to do the right thing and bring your information forward and cooperate, and that moment in time is now. To date, the Fruitland Police Department has received over 1,500 tips and leads, and we received many new leads since this phase of the investigation has began. We continue to ask our community for support and patience as we continue to aggressively work this case. We also ask that the Vaughan family's privacy continue to be respected, and we'll continue to post updates as information can be shared. Tips can be sent to findmichael@fruitland.org, or to Crime Stoppers at 343cops.com, or the Fruitland Police Department at 208-452-3110. Tipsters can remain anonymous. So, Before I open it up for questions, I just want to make it clear that this is a very active and ongoing investigation. It's super important that we maintain the integrity of this investigation, so I'd ask you that you'd please tailor your questions accordingly. With that, I'll stand for a few questions. Alex?
So if Michael's remains are not found, will Sarah have to be released, or do you think that she will remain in jail once you locate the other people that you think are involved?
It is my belief that she will remain in custody. But again, we're in talks with the Fayette County prosecutor, and those talks are ongoing as far as charging.
And you can't speak to any additional evidence that was found in the house, like you said, you can't?
I cannot. Again, I just don't want to jeopardize the integrity of this investigation. Leslie?
Stacey Wondra is listed as an inmate in Washington County Jail, but he's not on the Idaho court records because it's currently like federal hold. Are there any other charges aside from hers that have been filed in relation to this?
Not that I'm aware of. Not at this point. Go ahead.
What was different about the tip you received in this case after 1,500 tips over the last almost year and a half? What led to the arrest and the search? Can you share any more about what led you to that home?
I don't want to get into the details on that, but I can assure you that the tip that we received was credible. I also released that in an earlier statement that it came from one of the occupants of the home, which led to that, yes.
I'm sure that you guys in your investigation are following social media pages, which a lot of us have looked at, and one of them indicates a trip out of state taken within the time frame. Without hampering the investigation, you guys are at least aware of that trip taken to get a dog?
We are currently aware of a lot.
Okay.
And so I would tell you that you just need to trust us and trust in this investigation. We're making tremendous progress. We're comfortable with where we're at. I appreciate that question.
So Sarah Wondra didn't pass her mental evaluation for when they were in hearing and things. Do you think this affects the investigation at all, considering that to be the case?
I do not at this point.
There have been mentions of a neighbor's yard. Has that been searched in any way or taken into consideration in this investigation?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we'll be deploying ground penetrating radar in the neighbor's yard tomorrow.
Okay.
So we haven't done that yet, but we will. That's on the agenda for tomorrow. So thank you.
Aside from just living with the Wondras, do we know what the relationship of the two men you named were? How are they connected with the Wondras?
I'm not, this is ongoing. I'm not going to get into the semantics and dynamics of the relationship there. Alex?
A lot of neighbors spoke to us about a scooter that maybe you guys were looking for. Can you speak to anything about, like, you had found a scooter, if that was related, or if that's something that you were possibly looking for at the Wondras residence at all?
Again, that's evidentiary in nature, and I'm not going to speak to that at this point. So.
You mentioned the other property that's going to be starting to be searched tomorrow. Are there warrants for any other properties besides that are going to be sought out?
Not at this point, but through the course of this investigation, I believe that there are other locations that we will definitely be searching. So there is no warrant for the search that we're going to do tomorrow. It's all consensual. So I appreciate that.
Was the warrant that was executed in Kuna in recent weeks related to Brandon Shurtleff?
We did not have a warrant for any home in Kuna.
But was there a search related to his home?
Yes, there was.
Okay.
You said that you believe that one of them is in North Dakota. You haven't located him yet. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Do you mind spelling their last names for us? I'm sorry.
Sure, I can. You obviously have the Wondра's last name, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Last of Shurtleff is Shurtliff. Last of Lucien is Lucienne. Okay? All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to conclude this press conference. Karen, one more?
One more. If neither of these individuals do come forward with information, could they face any charges related to hampering an investigation or anything like that?
You know, I would tell you that, I'm not going to discuss our investigative strategies at this point, but it is my belief that charges are forthcoming. So.
One last question. I know you're very proud of your team that's really done an amazing job so far. Can you talk more about that and about how they're doing?
You know,
it's got to be tough.
It is tough. You know, we've lived this case from the time that it began, and but I'm telling you, I've got a very strong, committed group of people here, and they come in here every day, and we're in this grind, and they are committed to finding Michael, and we're just not going to stop. Everybody should know that we are not going to stop until we uncover the truth in its entirety, I would say. So, thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Well, there you have a press meeting, press release, and press conference as the chief of police for the Fruitland Police Department took some questions for the first time in quite some time on the search efforts of that residential property up in Fruitland looking for Michael Vaughan, the 5-year-old boy who went missing from his home almost a year and a half ago. Our Karen Lair has been following this story. She you obviously heard Karen ask a number of questions of the police chief in the City Hall area, the police chief. Answering Karen, I guess, what he could, but he introduced 2 new characters into this plot, so to speak. And what I thought was interesting, Karen, was the male from Kuna and from Toledo, Ohio. They want to speak to him, but they don't really know where they are. Is that correct?
That sounds right. I mean, one they believe to be in North Dakota right now, and that would be Brandon Shurtleff of Kuna, which Chief Huff did just confirm that that is the home that we had heard about a few weeks ago where a search was done. We just heard there was no warrant there, and we know nothing came of that search. There were no arrests or any evidence found in that incident either. And then the other name that we've learned today is Adrian Lucian of Toledo, Ohio. Both of these individuals we now know were staying with the Wondras at the time that they believe Michael Vaughan went missing and was abducted, and they now believe that he was abducted, killed, buried on the property, and then moved, as we've just learned confirmation that they did not find Michael Vaughan's remains on the property on Red Wing Street, in Fruitland, where they started those search efforts on the 12th of November. Don?
Well, Karen, it fills in at least one blank. That question that we've always talked about, the tip, they said came from the household, and at the time, when they first released that information, we thought it was either husband and or wife. The husband, of course, in custody on another charge, I believe, in Washington County. So we were saying, who else could that tip have come from? So now we know 2 other individuals that were in that home.
Yeah, but they are not current residents of the home. So, I mean, Chief Huff didn't specifically say, again, who that credible tip came from as we inquired a little bit more, other than it was someone who lives in the home, which we believe to be really Sarah and Stacy, while these 2 stayed there for at least some time last summer. Now, again, Stacy is in the Washington County Jail. He's been there since May on a previous charge for unlawful possession of a weapon of a felon. So we know that he has been out of the house for several months now, but whether he made a tip from jail or if Sarah said something to somebody, we still don't know exactly what that tip was and why it was different than the some 1,500 others that they have received since last July that led to an arrest and led to a search of a home. And they say, you know, that charge likely is going to stay in place, at least for now, and Sarah will stay in custody as they continue this investigation, asking for more information, and most importantly, asking for these 2 individuals to come forward with information to help them. Don?
Karen, correct me if I'm wrong. Sarah's parents literally live right down the street, just a few houses away. They are the owners of that property, that home and that property, correct?
That is what we believe, yeah. They don't own the home, and the county assessor's records show that the individuals that own the home where the Wondras live also own a home that's just right around the corner, about 4 blocks down. Neighbors have told us that that is her parents. I didn't get a chance to ask Chief Huff today if the parents are cooperating in the investigation, but we know that they had the warrant and they certainly searched the property and the yard in its entirety and did not find Michael Vaughan's remains. Don?
The property, the other property that you inquired about, and he said that we were going to, I think he said tomorrow, we're going to start on this other property. Is it possible that that property could be the parents' yard?
No. So the parents, as far as we know, it's several houses down, and so I think this is the next door neighbor's yard that people have inquired about. That Chief Huff says they voluntarily got approval to search that area, and they're going to be out there tomorrow with that ground penetrating radar to see if there's anything found under the ground on the other side of the fence, essentially.
One last question for you, Karen. You've been in touch with the family spokesperson. I thought it was interesting throughout this whole process. They really haven't been kept up to date from the police department, only when there's something that they need to know, and they weren't there today, so I'm guessing they didn't know much about what was going to be said today. Is that fair to say?
So I do believe they were briefed before this started, and that they were not going to be here. This was a media-specific event. Only press are in the room right now. As of last night, we know the family had not been told what investigators found, if they found anything, or what the latest was. I do believe they know now. And again, either way, going into today, we knew this was going to be devastating for the family, either confirmation of his death and remains, or back to square one, still searching. But it's kind of in the middle right now, where they do believe that he was abducted and killed, and that his remains at some point were on the property, but they have not found his actual body as they continue their investigation, Don. Okay,
Karen, I know you have a lot of information to put together, and you need to head back this way, and we'll expect an update and the very latest coming up on our newscast later today, and of course on all our media platforms as well. Again, you just saw the press conference from the Fruitland Police Department. We will have the very latest for you coming up later today. We return to regular programming.